Hello folks, how are you today? I lost a little track of time, but I'm here now, so hello and welcome, and I hope you are having a great day. Gonna chill, literally, for a second. I know you probably don't have the same number of ice packs that I do, which honestly is a considerable number. And I think I was talking about this last week, but I found my fan. And it makes things so much better. So I'm going to literally chill and talk a little bit about hypnosis while I stay cool. There are such things as fan dances. I think many of them were erotic in nature, but I don't think they have to be. I think that may be where some Las Vegas showgirl type acts, or maybe even like the French Moulin Rouge things may have gotten. They use feathered, massive fans, and they do suggestive, sexy dances. I do not normally do that sort of thing. However, I think that the idea that a fan can be opened or closed or send some kind of message is absolutely fascinating. I'm not really here to talk about that right now because I don't know enough about that topic. However, I am certain that somebody somewhere has done a explanation of fans and all that they signify. I think that sometimes they would use them to like tap different parts of their body, and that would mean different things. So, but for me, I am simply using that as a method of air conditioning. So, how's your week been? It's been kind of crazy here. My email list is getting outrageous. I keep trying to pare it down, and it keeps growing and growing. So I'm going to have to get to that one of these days. There's just too many. I have a friend in a similar position. Not necessarily in terms of their emails, but in terms of the amount of stuff that we have to do at any given moment in time. And they have started a square, I think, I don't know what they're called, but it sort of looks like that. And you put things in the order of how important they are and how able you are to do a thing. And some of them are just like low interest, low time. You just say, fuck it, don't do it at all. And I'm trying to think about how many things I could just delete from my email address. And then I think about how nice that would be in general to just delete all the things that you didn't like out of life, right? But that's not really feasible. Sometimes you actually have to deal with them. So we've been doing some NLP. Last week we did some NLP type techniques and worked on adjusting how we felt about things and how we responded to things. And this week, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Except I will tell you all that I did, in fact, work on the collab, the virus collab. So if you heard the mega collab, there was, I don't know, initially like 30 or 40 people said they were going to do it. I don't know how many people ended up doing it. There was a list. We each did the same-ish thing for a minute. So this is the similar idea, except instead of us all doing the same thing in the same file, we are all doing our own files and we're just advertising them all together. So today I did a little video to make myself record it. It's not perfect. I'm probably going to just use it as a teaser for YouTube. I'll put some of it on YouTube and it's going to look very much like this. And it will happen from there. But it started pouring out of my body. Like, I'm just typing. And I had no way to stop it. The language sometimes just pours out of my head, so that was kind of fun. Yeah, so I made this little video. I think it's, I don't know, like 12 minutes long or something like that, so it's not a big deal. But I may edit the audio, probably going to edit the audio to have like a second track. I'm going to edit the audio to have maybe some sound effects. I really hate editing. We'll see how long it takes. There is a timeline, which I think is helpful. It might just mean I'm ignoring other things, but honestly, I feel like I've been putting off hypnotic stuff for a long time. Creative hypnotic stuff, that is. So we'll see how this goes. But it's a virus that you've all already been infected with. How fun is that? And you just get to see what the results are. I hope if you listen, I hope that you listen and that you like it. So, I also have been working on organizing my life a little bit, which is probably why I have so many emails, right? Because things are unorganized. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun, that file. So I'm working on organizing my life, and there's a lot of aspects to it, right? So it's like you divide things into certain areas, and you clean up that area in the best way that you possibly can. Not that anyone in here knows anything about organizing. But it's great fun to look around and be like, oh wow, this is all done. This is exactly how I wish it were all the time. Things cannot be like that, right? Our lives get messy. Our kitchen sinks get messy. Our laundry basket gets full. Stuff like that. So there's constant, ongoing stuff that we have to do. And sometimes it's more fun than others. Sometimes it's just so easy to be like, okay, I'm going to go into a trance. I'm going to pop on some music that I really like, and I'm just going to bang this stuff out. It's got to get done. I'm also looking at doing, in addition to that, some more tidying up of all my hypno stuff. So I've been doing hypnosis for a long time. It seems like a long time at any rate, over a decade. And I have all these ideas. I'm not the only person that does this, but here's what I do. I get an idea and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best idea ever, right? And I write that idea down and I put it in a text file and I save and store it. And then I go back to look at these great ideas, but because I haven't actually fleshed anything out, and I think my brain is surely, absolutely going to remember what I was thinking about, and specifically in which context I was going to use this thing. Like sometimes I look at these things and they're all kind of gibberish. I may, just for funsies, like post these in the Discord group and see what kind of ideas you guys come up with to see if you might enjoy a file with that kind of idea. Because I think sometimes, like I've gotten a little bit better at fleshing out the idea. It's kind of like, for me, it's like when I wake up in the morning and I have had a dream, but I've kind of forgotten most of it. So if I go back and talk about it even a little teeny tiny bit, it'll be immediately clearer and more visible. So like this morning, I woke up, I had this dream that I went into the bathroom and there was like an ant, and I'm the kind of person who's like, oh, let's put these critters outside. So I like put my hand next to it. It eventually crawled up in my hand. And then instead of being this tiny little brown ant, it was like this big green antish thing. I don't even know if it was still an ant then. So I went to bring it outside, and then I'm like, oh, I better just stick it under the water so it knows it should get off. So I stick my hand under the water, and when the ant leaves, and when I pull my hand out, I have 3 more critters on my hand. I do not even know what specifically they were. One of them looked like a bird, like round and like with a little head crest, but like a round, fluffy kind of bird, but it didn't have feathers. I don't know what's going on with my dreams. I've been having them a lot more recently. It's absolutely, absolutely crazy. Yeah, so this, I mean, sometimes it's literally just like a sentence. And I think, oh, this is the best idea. When I write them down, it's always like, oh, this is the best idea ever. It's not the best idea ever. So, but it is an idea, and I'm sure I could go somewhere with it if I thought back. But so again, some of these ideas are pretty old. And I am much better at moving forward with things, moving forward, instead of looking back and remembering. Much better one way versus the other. I thought that it would be fun, maybe, to talk about this virus idea. Yes, yeah. I have to do that now because I didn't do it before and I regret it. So, but I used to do that all the time, and I would get that. I was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna do so much creation, and then I never did as much creation as I wanted to. But, so the virus idea I think is gonna be fun. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. I don't know how many people are participating in this one. I'm gonna say, off the top of my head, probably about 10-ish people right now are participating in this. So that's going to be 10 brand new files along the same theme. They're all pretty different. Some people are making up more stories. You know, you're in like a lab setting or something like that and you caught a virus. Mine's not quite like that because I don't really tell stories per se. I just tell you how to think and feel. And hopefully you do. Yeah, so the virus idea I think is super cool. I think the idea of something going viral, I think the idea of a virus going viral, right, is pretty exciting. Hello, 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 everyone. I'm always so happy you're here. Oh, I do want to mention one thing because I know it really irritates some people. So I have been monetized by YouTube. And what that means is that YouTube wants to put ads in my videos, even in live streams that I do. So I have the option, apparently, of placing them where I would like. I may start announcing that I'm going to be doing an ad, telling YouTube where it's going to go, and then not having any for the rest, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. So if you see ads, first of all, thank you for watching them or going by them. I don't even know. I know almost nothing about the algorithm on YouTube. It's not like I'm making any massive amounts of money on YouTube. I think for the last 2 months, I've received a check for $114, which isn't a lot of money, but it's not nothing. So, you know, it helps keep me in lizard salad. Not for me, for Maria. Sometimes, you know, sometimes people, anyway, so the idea is that at some point in time, I will try to corral any ads in one spot so they're there. They will not interfere with the hypnosis part, which I think is pretty important. So I would like to talk about Maria for a second because some of you may or may not know that I have an iguana. She's a Cuban rock iguana named Maria. When I got her, she was about 3 pounds and very, very feisty. She was about 10 years old. They live 60 or 70 years, theoretically, in captivity. Who knows, because I didn't get her when she was a baby. 10 years old is pretty old for a lizard. And so every day, she eats a big salad. She has definitely gotten bigger. She's now over 6 pounds. And it's probably because her diet has drastically changed. The person who had her before would occasionally feed her like a hamburger. She's not actually supposed to have that much protein. It's not very good for her. But I would love to have her and show her off because I love her. I think she's absolutely beautiful. Because, right, you're a pet owner, you think your pet looks stunning. I think she's like fierce. She's a, if you Googled what Cuban rock iguanas look like, you would see what she looks like. But she's got long claws and she has short patience. So I could have her here and show her off. And she would be good for like 5 minutes max. And then she would start trying to climb on my head. And then she would claw me. It's probably warm enough in here that she might actually get even feistier because that's what heat does for her. But this particular environment is only, it may not actually be warm enough. She likes to bask at like 130 degrees on a rock. So anyway, so I thought I would like ask if you guys have pets that you like that you would want to share off. I can't really share off I can't really share off her live, but I might share some pictures of her because, God, she's like a work of art, all her scales. And she's very funny. She communicates with head bobs and aggressive or not behavior. So, like if it's feeding time, if it's her salad time and it's in the morning, and she's too, it's been too long, she's like, I'm hungry right now. She will charge the front of her enclosure and come at me. Or I usually leave the plate in there, her salad plate, until the morning when I go grab it out so she can eat whenever she wants. So sometimes she like sits on her salad plate like, I'm hungry and there's nothing here to eat. I just find it kind of amusing. Yeah, I will post some pictures of her because she's really absolutely charming. So, all right, what sorts of things would anybody like to do today in terms of hypnosis? Yeah, where's my food? She's not shy about it at all. She wants her food. She wants it now. She eats a lot of greens, collard, kale, turnip, mustard greens. Not a lot of spinach. The calcium, it robs her of calcium. But she eats stuff like that, and squash. And she eats as many berries as she can get away with. She loves blueberries. One of the ways that I trained her was like to eat out of my hand is like I'd put a line of blueberries, and now she'll eat berries out of my hand. But her vision, it's supposed to be really good, but sometimes she can't quite tell, I think, and she will try to chomp my hand. When she was new, she did chomp me a couple times. I have to say that I've healed quite well. Dwell less on the past. So I think that that is a thing that I have somehow made happen to myself. I don't know if that I have ever sort of dwelled in the past, but I am definitely a forward moving, thinking, focused person. So I think we could definitely do that. So some of that is what I was talking about either last week or the week before when I was talking about timelines. So there is sort of a natural order of some timelines. And I want you to think about this, because if your timeline is really unique and special and works for you, you have absolutely no problems with it. If you thought about how it was, you might be like, oh, it's not. Like Lee says hers is from the left is her past, the right is her future, the now is here. Some people's run in like a U around them. So the here and now is always right here, but the past and the present both go out behind them. And for some people, that's a problem because they never get to see, they don't ever learn from their mistakes. For some people, the past kind of all crowds like right here. So it keeps invading their present. So if yours is super unique and you like it and it works for you, you don't want to change it, but you can listen to how others might go. Like some people's go on a slant. Sometimes they go back to front on a slant. Sometimes they are very bizarre. I know somebody there's a game, I want to say it's a UK game. So Snakes and Ladders. I think in the US there's a similar game with a slightly different title, but they said it looked like a Snakes and Ladders game board, which kind of looks like a month, but they could flip through them all. It's been a long time since they've talked about it to me. So we did a thing last week about, I think it's called Snakes and Ladders in the UK. So it wasn't, I think Shoots and Ladders might be the US one. I don't know if the game is exactly the same or not. So we did a thing last week about how to deal with things, how to make things better. So I think that if you took a look at last week's, and you could figure out a way to have people from your past not bother you anymore. We talked about that a little bit. That might be helpful for you. And we can still address dealing less with the past today. So for usual timeline, let's start out with some hypnosis because I started a little late today. So let's start with the hypnosis now. I think I've told you all that my timeline ended up part of my control room. I have a control room deep in my mind or somewhere in my mind, and when I go to there, I have off to my left, so I have to turn and look at it so it faces the correct direction. I have a subway, like a little subway station car thing, and it's got my timeline in it. So I can go anywhere and do anything with that in my timeline. I can go either direction I want, doesn't matter. But there are also additional ways to deal with your timeline and to deal with your past. So, I think I have a thing that we're going to do today. All right, if you would like to participate, this is a technique that Gerald Klein used called ultra height. It's also ultra depthy, so if you like going deeply into trance, this might be for you. So you can go ahead and focus on something or close your eyes and let yourself go into trance. You can drop into a deep sleep. However you find yourself going into trance best, I'm going to suggest that you find yourself letting that happen right now. And as you find yourself going deeply into trance right now, you're going to find yourself dropping as deeply down as you know how to go. And then I'm going to ask your unconscious mind, as you find yourself dropping down more deeply into trance, let your unconscious mind take one of your hands and arms and just begin to let it rise up in the air. You can allow your hand and arm to feel lighter and lighter. It can rise up in the air as you find yourself dropping more and more deeply into trance. And as your unconscious mind drops you all down deeper and deeper into trance, every single bit of you, your hand and arm begin to rise higher and higher. And as your hand and arm go higher and higher, you drop deeper. You go deeper. You can't help it. It just happens. Your hand and arm rise. You sink more deeply into trance. That's how it goes until at some point in time, your hand and arm are reaching for the ceiling. Your fingers are reaching for the ceiling. And you are about as deeply in trance as you have ever been. I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, your unconscious mind can drop your arm and send you someplace new and powerful in your unconscious mind, way deeper than you've ever been. 1, 2, 3. And just let that happen. Let that depth of trance begin to be so powerful, so amazing, so incredible. You can do that again. You're supposed to go super, super deep into trance for this. So you can do that again. You don't have to raise your arm up at all. If you can just find yourself going even more deeply down. Like you went to the basement and then you realized that there was an elevator that would take you to the sub-basement, or stairs that would take you to the sub-basement. You just find yourself going down deeper into trance automatically. And then you do it again. And you leave your body there, and you leave your consciousness there at that depth of trance, that super, super deep level of trance, deeper than you have ever gone. Maybe this space turns out to be transparent, so you can always sort of see where your body is, but you begin rising up. And as you find yourself rising up, no matter what your timeline looks like, we won't interfere with how it works or how it looks. All you need to do is to rise up, and you keep going up, and you go up and up and up even more, as though perhaps you're being drawn up by some force field, a tractor beam, but you're being drawn up not into something else, but simply up. You have absolutely no fear whatsoever. You are looking at the world perhaps as though it is simply falling away from you. You can see your body, your consciousness in that basement, wherever it ended up, resting comfortably, while you go so high up, as though you were simply lifted up higher and higher and higher. And while you're there, looking at your timeline, you can look for as far back in the beginning of your life as you could possibly see. You can see any moment you wanted to by sort of zooming in and zooming back out. You could mark where certain years were, certain important events were. And you can see yourself in the here and the now. And you can look off to the future. You'll know where that is. You can look off to the future, and you can think about how the future you ideally would be, how it would present itself, how it would look, how it would sound, how it would act, what it would do, everything about that. And when you go down to any future point in time, you can ask yourself questions like, hey, are you happy? Are you successful? How is your life? When you get answers, maybe you're like, oh, I need to go a little further out. Maybe you see branches, right? Maybe you see branches, forks. Which way do I want to go? Maybe there are multiple options and choices that you can see. And so you can go down to each of those multiple options and choices and ask yourself, are you happy? How'd you get here? Are you happy to be here? What would you change, if anything? And then you find a version of yourself. You find a version of yourself that is exactly as you would like to be. A version of yourself that looks forward, that gets the things done, that doesn't dwell on the past, that doesn't allow things that have happened in the past or people that have happened in the past to affect you. Those things that have happened or those people that have happened, all the emotion can drain out of those interactions. All those interactions are still there. You understand them, you know them, but they mean nothing. They are black and white. They are faded. The things that did not make you feel good, and then you talk to the person that was you. What were the things that you really liked that really helped you get here? Tell me the things that got you here. Which decisions did you make? Which forks did you take? And allow your unconscious mind to know that when you found that right you, that future you, that you start walking backward from that path. You just go all the way down to the ground. And then you walk back, taking the paths that lead you to the you in that basement, wherever it happens to be. You can still see it. You have like a beacon that helps drive you, pull you, direct you to that you, but you make all the right steps along the way. You've already chosen. All you have to do is find yourself back. But every time you find yourself at that fork, your brain, your unconscious goes, this is the decision we made. This is the decision that was best for us. This is the decision that worked for us. And you find yourself going back to that you. And your unconscious goes, okay, I now know what steps I need to take to find myself at a place that I was really happy, that I was living my best life, that led me to have a good life this whole time. Not to say that everything always run smoothly or easily, but the big decisions that you have to make, even sometimes the small decisions that you have to make, your brain simply holds on to and remembers those decisions, remembers the path that you took to get to where future you is. And your unconscious mind goes, okay, we're going to do our very best to make all those decisions as we go forward. And then that you goes back down, and your conscious and unconscious and body all become one again. But you're still deeply, deeply in trance. When you were rising up so high, you had a new perspective on what your timeline looked like, what your life looked like, what incidents made a big impact for you. If you want, at any point in time, you can go back now, go back then, and you can play around with any of them. You can literally remember them in a new way. You can make things more important or less important so that as you move forward, you have guidance to make the decisions that you know you're going to make as you came back from that future you to the current you. Knowledge and empowerment to make those decisions, to stick with those decisions, to allow your brain to know that you're doing the right thing for yourself for the future. And then, as you find yourself doing that, when you finish doing whatever you want to do here, and you know that you can always come back here. You do not need me. You can let yourself sink very deeply into trance. You can rise up. You can gain that new perspective again. You can see how things are. You can see how things were. You can adjust so that you are always correcting as needed for the best possible life that you can live. You can make sure that the things that you want to do, the things that are your goals, are big and bright and bold and enticing. They're the right temperature, they have the right sound, they have everything exactly correct to pull you to it. And those things that happened in your past that were not good, your brain can put some kind of magnet. Maybe you've got one on your back, they've got one, they repulse each other. So you know that you never go back to those things again. You move toward the thing that is bright and bold and pretty and your plan and your idea. You move away from the people that were not good for you. You move away from the situations that were not good for you. You actively repulse them. You move toward the other thing. You move forward. You move on. They are in your past. They are behind you. They do not matter. You can think about them without emotion. And it feels good to let that go, to let that be in your past, to let that go, to not have to worry about it, to not have to concern yourself with it, to simply embrace the idea that you are here and now taking advantage of whatever your unconscious mind can tell you about your future self and the right paths that you are going to take to get to where you want to go. While your unconscious mind also adds in whatever safeguards to keep those bad decisions, bad people, bad things that happen in your past away from you as far as you can possibly make it. Your unconscious mind probably already knows what decisions, what actions, what things you need to do to make those choices happen, to make those which fork do I take choices happen so that you can get to where you really want to be. If you do not really know what it is that you want, you might take a moment the next time you find yourself up really high looking at things. Ask yourself, what is it that I really want out of life? Be as specific as you can. And I'm not saying things like, oh, I want to take a vacation every year. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, think about the things that are really important to you, the people that you want to surround yourself with, the kind of fulfilling activities that you want to find yourself embracing and doing, the type of security or stability you need, whatever that happens to be. Imagine what it is that you want and need. Be as clear as you can about it, and let your unconscious mind figure out the best way to get you to that point. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to take risks, do things that you've never done before. There's a lot of advice out there to get you to where you would like to be. So hold on to those thoughts and those ideas. Let your unconscious mind really, really have a good time with learning what you can about where you want to go. Really, really have a good time diminishing all those things that were in your past, all those people that were not helpful, that were not good for you, that do not matter to you right now. And when you have done all of that, and your body is all back together, conscious, unconscious body, all together, then go ahead and start coming all the way back up. Let yourself take a while, but I'm going to count from 1 to 20. You can notice that that brings you up to full consciousness. I'm not going to go very fast. You've already dropped very deeply down, so take your time. 1, 2, 3, come up, bringing all the knowledge and information with you that you need on a conscious or unconscious level. 4, 5, to make those good and right decisions, to understand how your timeline works, to make sure that it works for you from now on. 5, 6, 7, and as it keeps working for you, you can know, 8, 9, that it is still adjustable. Your life is adjustable. You are programmable in the way you think and the way you act. You can change those things to suit you, to suit your future. 9, 10, and as you find yourself coming back up, you come back with every bit of knowledge and information that you need to make those decisions happen. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and it feels good to rise up. It feels good to come back. 16, 17, 18, opening up your eyes. 19, taking in a nice deep breath. 20, moving and stretching and wide awake. And as you find yourself coming back, let your unconscious mind know that you're locking in that information so it is there and available for you whenever you need it. It will not be hidden. It will be available. The things you don't need, you may as well forget about them. They're not that important. And you certainly don't have to feel badly about any of those things. So find yourself coming back and notice how good it feels to be back all the way wide awake. And the more wide awake you find yourself feeling and being, the better it is. If you have any interesting revelations, if you had any interesting revelations and you feel like sharing, cool. If you don't, that's okay too. But I'm here to make sure that you feel empowered to go forward, making the right decisions, and to not let your past get in your way. There's no need for that. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to let that happen. So go ahead and think about how good you can feel. If you're not quite up yet, I'm going to count to 10 again. You can find yourself coming all the way back up even more, because I know you might have been super, super deep, right? 1, 2, 3, this is faster, so come up faster. 4, 5, 6, and say hi when you're awake. 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the way back, wide awake. it can be super challenging to go very deeply into trance, but your unconscious mind can know that you will make the right decisions while you are in that I've just come out of trance state. Your brain will know that you are going to do the things that are useful for you, important for you, right for you. Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, it can take a little while, so take another deep breath. If you need to hear me say wide awake, that can happen, that whole out like a light thing, right? Out like a light might be a good trigger phrase. You know, another thing you can do, which we didn't really do today, but you can definitely go back in time and make different decisions as well. But I think that that's super cool that you went back in time and became the person you needed that you didn't have. You can also be your here and now and go back and tell your past self, when you do this, this happens. When you do this, this happens. And then you can feel super good about it. Oh, come back up. Wide awake. Come back up. I'm going to let you all know that, first of all, if you are here, thank you for being here. If you would like to subscribe or like any of these things, I'd appreciate it. You can become a member here or on Patreon, or you can simply get my files from all over the web. They are definitely there. No, that is definitely not weird or ironic that you might have more detailed, because as you make changes, your brain should be like, oh, that was super useful, or this could have gone, I made this change instead of that change. I was going to do this, decided to do this instead for whatever reason, and here we are. But anyway, I do want to say thank you for being here. I like doing these live sessions. They're kind of fun. You are always welcome to give me ideas for things that you think would be helpful for you, and we will find a way for it to be incorporated with everybody. I think you're really going to like that that audio is coming out, the little video teaser. I'll probably try to get out later today. We'll see how we'll see how good I am at doing my editing. And let's see what else. Something else. My brain may not remember what it was, though. So anyway, feel free to join the Discord if you're not already there. I'm not super chatty all the time. This is the time I am the chattiest. So, well, I appreciate you guys too. So, but anyway, thank you so much for being here. I am going to go and have another meeting. I would love your ideas for things that you would like to do. I would love to make sure that we can make things better in your life. That's definitely an area that I have moved into. So if you have ideas for how you might like to see that, let's make it happen. And otherwise, I'm going to say make sure that you are as wide awake as you need to be. Don't go driving or doing crazy things otherwise. Don't go buying used cars. And I will see you guys next week. So goodbye, and thank you for being here. And I'll see you again later.